Welcome to Lean On Me Radio and Podcast. My name is Rita Marie, and today we have George with us, who is very well known for his poetry, as well as now he is turning his poetry into music, which I think is totally awesome. And George is an amazing creator on Clapper. If you don't know what Clapper is, it's basically a freedom of speech social app. Now, Clapper has changed over the times, and there are some things that we are not allowed to do, but for the most part, we can pretty much say and do what we want. And y'all come on over and check it out. I will be putting the links for George as well as myself into the description and the comments on this podcast. So a little bit about me. Again, my name is Rita Marie. I am a 63-year-old grandmother, a GRG, grandmother raising 2 grandchildren. I am an entrepreneur. I am a business mentor and a lifestyle coach. I love arts and crafts. And I basically live a very simple life in the country in Livingston, Texas. And I just love it. It's quiet. And it's just beautiful here. So, anyway, with no further ado, welcome, George. It's great to have you here today. And I would love for you to start off with introducing yourself and telling a little bit about yourself.
My name is George, and I am also known as King of Poetry on Clapper. I am very in love with the form of poetry, being able to express yourself, not just mentally, but physically. I enjoy just being able to be myself and share with others things that I've learned, not just about myself, but how to also help others. I am just recently, about a month and a half ago, I became a mental health advocate. I am certified, and I have also started dabbing into doing music. I take my poetry and I literally will turn it into music. I have a couple of things in play. I have a very good friend that knows a producer, and one song I had sent is now at with that producer to help me get out into the music brand. I have an amazing family that has my back 100%. And I am also a fellow person of the mental health community. I suffer with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and I've gone through a program that helped me with that. And I've also become more involved with my surroundings and who is around me.
Wow, George, that is a lot. And I just think you're totally awesome. Now, you mentioned that you suffer from anxiety and depression and PTSD. Um, so let me ask you this. What, with all of that, what has been your biggest challenge?
I would have to say out of the three that gets me the most would end up being my depression, because there's two 2 months out of the year, out of the past couple of years, that has actually been tough on me. It's literally to the point I'll shut down and I'll block out everybody, and I'll only worry about myself. But yet, when I go and do something like that, I get phone calls, I get text messages, and I got my family, whether it's on social media or off of social media, I'm getting messages saying, "Are you okay? I know something's not right. Talk to me. Come on, little brother. Come on, big brother." Mm, if I did not have that, I would not have been able to continue with my depression for the rest of that month. I literally would be stuck in my head and not wanting to deal with anything.
Right, I get that. And that's one of the things that I really do love about Clapper is the community and how people just know because they get to know you when there's something wrong and they will reach out and be there to support you. I think that is just totally awesome. Um, so George, what would you say is the most important thing you have learned in your life, or even being on Clapper? What is the most important thing you've learned? Um, it could be anything from helping other people to overcoming fear and anxiety, you know, that sort of thing.
Mm, what I've actually learned, mm, don't give up on others, and mainly don't give up on yourself, because if you're dealing with so much, with whether it's mental health related or not related to mental health, everybody has their own issues. They always need someone to talk with, someone just to listen to them. And it's definitely something I've learned. Just keep on doing what I need to do. And if I need help, or I don't feel motivated, I usually find something or find someone that's motivated, has the motivation to motivate me. Because if I don't have that motivation, the day's gonna go completely wrong, and you're gonna and you're gonna wanna end up spending the entire day in bed.
Right, I hear you. And sometimes that means reaching out ourselves to others. And for me, that is one of the hardest things I have ever had to do in my life was to learn that there are people out there that will listen. Now, you got those two that just really don't care. They don't want to hear it. And they'll tell you, I got enough of my own problems and that sort of thing. But there are people out there that will listen if you just keep telling your story. And if you're there to support them, they're going to be there to support you. It's kind of like that saying goes, one hand washes the other, or do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When we treat people in a more positive way, in a more loving and caring way, we tend to get that back. Guess I want to ask you, I'm sure that you have some barriers in your life. So if you could remove any of the barriers and constraints that keep you from moving forward, um, what would those barriers be that you would want to remove and why?
Hmm. To be honest, I never had any barriers in my way because I always had my mom right there helping me along the way. And I've even had help from my therapist to make sure I did not have anything that was up in my face that was going to stop me. There was no time in my life I felt like I was stuck in an obstacle course trying to keep on stopping. I always look things at it as because one of my favorite sayings, I live by it, I breathe by it, I sleep by it. And it's actually Carpe Diem. And every day, every minute, I just lived for season the day. Because if I did not, everything that I was working hard towards would have crumbled down.
Oh, I love that. So you're a go-getter. That is so awesome. You're not letting things stand in your way. That is really awesome. Um, so let's go into a little bit about your poetry. Okay. Um, Tell us what types of poetry that maybe you like, and also what type of poetry you do, and what you're doing right now in Clapper community with that poetry.
Mm, As far as poetry, I write a mixture of different kinds. It varies on the day, and my my favorite genre of poetry would actually end up being um more of like happy go lucky poetry. and, and what I've been working on recently, I've actually been working on turning my poetry into music. I've been working on this since February of this year, and I have all the lyrics. I am actually in the process of making my own beats for them right off of my laptop.
That is so awesome. And George, you had mentioned to me before the radio that you were doing a radio on Clapper for poetry. Um, can you tell us what that radio is and basically how it works?
Mm, with the It was called Poetry Corner. It was presented by the Clapper News and Reviews newspaper that was held by Mom Sesh and Rooster, and still is till this day. They actually, I actually approached them about having them as a sort of like a sponsor for the Poetry Corner. And the way it worked, mm, it was basically an open room whoever wanted to read, they could read their poetry. And one radio, it actually ended up becoming like a sort of where everybody would come in. If they didn't have a poem, I would end up giving them like just a topic, and they'll literally take like 4 or 5 minutes or however long they need to write that poem down, and they can go ahead and read it right in the radio. It never mattered if it was short or a long poem, because with me, poems work in both directions. If they're short and to the point, amazing. But if they're but if they have a little bit of length to them, outstanding. Because you get a different perspective on who's writing or what is actually going through their head.
Right. You get to know people a little bit better through their poetry. That makes sense. Okay, George. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I am going to open the floor to anyone else that wants to ask a question. Both of you know George, and thank you for being here, Tyler and Peace. I appreciate it. So, George, you must have a favorite quote. What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. Oh, who was it by? Um, it wasn't. I don't know if anyone's ever used it or not, but I actually came up with my own quote. But I'm pretty sure someone has used it. But I usually go with your setback is your greatest comeback.
I love that. I love that. That's a great quote. We're going to go back to the mental health a little bit. And the question I want to ask is, when it comes to mental health, what do you think people get wrong? And what I mean by that basically is, you know, I see a lot of people out there that judge others for their disabilities. What is it, I guess, that you would say to everyone at this point to make them understand a little bit more about the struggle and what they go through?
Honestly, I would have to say, don't judge a person by the way they look or by their appearance, because you never know if that person is going to surprise you or not. And if it's a person that has a disability, you don't know what they're going through until you walk in their shoes. And there is a bigger world out there than just bullying someone that has a mental health issue, or a disability, because a lot of people don't actually are aware. But if they end up having a conversation with me, they won't know until I say something. I have a disability myself. You're talking to someone that has a disability. So you treat me with respect because you did not know about my disability, but yet you're talking about someone behind their back when they can't do nothing about it to protect themselves. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to protect them for them, because you have no right talking about, oh, this, he's a I hate using this word. I really hate. This person's a retard. No, he's so slow. He looks like Peter Griffin with Down syndrome.
Right. It's very degrading to hear those words, number one. It's very hurtful, number two. And number three, I really feel like hurt people like hurt people. But I also want to say in that, I think a lot of people use that phrase as an excuse as well. Because hurt people can be nice. And if they want to be treated nicely, in my opinion, they will do their best to treat others nicely. And, okay, so I think that Peace actually raised her hand first. So I am going to let Peace ask the question.
George.
Yep.
When people have treated you like that, is that when you turn to poems?
When people do that to me, I do turn to poetry, but I also turn to music because I always find music as another outlet for friends because I love music. It's been a part of my life, and it actually helps me center myself.
Can I also tell you something that might help? People's opinions about you are none of your business. And whatever they said, it's already behind you. It's already in the past when you find out. Or even if you found out right then, 10 minutes later, it's already in your past. So it might help you to realize that your opinions and who you are matter most in your life. And if you're happy with them, then that's that. I think a lot of us look for other people to validate who we are. And not everybody's going to validate who you are. And they're not going to agree with you. And, you know, some people think they're so intellectual and so smart that they're better than everybody. So in that aspect, it's not even just you. It's them. And if we put the blame where it belongs, then you can move on. Just saying, food for thought. If you wanted to, if someone says something to you, just be like, your opinion don't matter. I know who I am. And it'll be less of a sting. That's all I'm saying. Love you, George.
Love you too, Peace.
And I appreciate that, Peace.
Hey, Captain George Poet, how long have you did the poetry corner for? It's been like a long time. I've seen you on Clapper, like the music a poet thing you're doing.
I've actually been doing the poetry corner with Clapper News and Review probably like over a year or close to it. And I just recently started with doing the music.
Wow. Now that's a pretty cool idea. And I've been doing my radio since a long time too, so
Okay, so let's see. Okay, so basically we have come to the end of the interview, and I just want to ask you, George, if there is anything that maybe I missed, anything that you would like to leave here on a positive note for people, and then we'll close.
Only one thing I actually do want to say, because didn't miss anything, but one thing I do want to say is look out for one another, protect one another, because in this world that we're always fighting against, we might find an obstacle that we may not be able to get over. Find that bit of confidence in yourself and do something positive. Do something for you for a change, or help someone that actually needs it. Because you never know, there's going to be someone out there who just needs a hug, or just needs a shoulder to cry on, or a friend to be there.
Right, I agree with that 100%. Okay, so I want to thank you, George, for being here today. I really loved what you shared, and hopefully later down the road I might be able to have you come back again and share a little bit more, and maybe even read some of your poetry. I think that would be awesome, or even the poetry that you're putting to music. I would love to hear that. Peace and Tyler, I really appreciate you being here today. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everyone that is listening today.
And we'll see you in the next one.